Hi, this is Dave at DRH Acrylic Creations. Tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different, actually a little bit more to the basics. I'm going to do a simple swipe, and the swipe is going to go from the top towards the camera at the bottom. And I'll show you how I'm going to line this up, and hopefully what we'll see is the cell formation evenly throughout the pour itself. So without any further ado, I'm going to get my canvas up and we'll get started. What you see here is a canvas that I painted some time ago, and I'm not wild about it, so it's a part of my development as I've come through. This was early on, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint across this. And it's simple. This hasn't been varnished yet, so all I have to do is put paint on top of it. So it's easy. But if I had varnished this, I'd scuff it up with a little bit of one of my sanding blocks, and just enough so that I got a rough finish and my paint could adhere to it, and it would work just fine. So if you have a canvas, you're not crazy about your paint and you're like, I don't like it anymore, it's an easy solution and it repurposes it. So just a friendly tip. First thing going down is going to be PPG Multi-Pro, and I'm going to just put down a healthy amount of this. I don't want to put so much that it's going to cause problems, but I'm going to put enough down that my paints have a place to flow across. So with normal swipes of this sort, you don't have to worry so much about the base paint, but with the pillows, that gives our color layers something to float across it. I want my colors to blend, so I'll show those colors here in just a moment. So I'm about, usually 2.5, 3 inches away from each corner. We're about that now, and each side rather, and I think we'll be good there. I get this PPG Multi-Pro at Home Depot. It's fairly inexpensive and it works for me. I like the consistency of it. Okay, colors for today. I'll bring that up so you can see it. We've got Velvet, Sapphire, Waterfall, and Lakeside. All four of those are this little Piggy pigments. They started out as powder, and I added some Josonio varnish to loosen them up, wet them a little bit, and then I added my pouring medium, which is 3 parts of Vaspar Ultra, and then Varathane polyurethane triple thick. Boy, that was a mouthful. And I add 1 part of that. So for every 3 parts of the Vaspar, 1 part of the Varathane. So, and it doesn't matter what your measurements is, as long as they're the same, that should work for you. It's a starting point. On the bottom row, this is QNEG, Quinacridone Nickel Gold is its full name. As you can see, that's why I shortened it. This is Mango, this is Honeycomb, and this is Lagoon. This is a golden product. Everything else is this little Piggy. For my cell activators, I'm going to have 2 cell activators. This is Titanium White by Amsterdam, and this is Iridescent Gold Deep by Amsterdam. Both of these are mixed with 3 parts of Australian Floetrol. Now this is the secret sauce. There are recipes out there to use the American Floetrol, and I know that the European side of things have another paint or additive that's very similar to it. But this is what I use, mainly because I know that I'm going to get the cells that I'm looking for. Okay, my paint is down. I've been talking. You need to be really careful because at this point, a skin can actually form. So I want to make sure that I've spread this out, give this enough room or enough time to do what it needs to do. So, do what it needs to do. That didn't make any sense at all. To make sure that I have the coverage that I need. Okay. And on this side, so bringing it close to the edges. You'll see why in a minute, because this painting is, or this style of painting is very similar to what you see with traditional fluid art. I'm going to lay down some colors. I think I'm going to start my warm, hot colors to my cold colors. So I'm going to start with, let me see, do I want to go light to dark or dark to light? This is, QNEG is semi-opaque. Everything else is transparent. So I'm going to start light to dark. That needs, that's a little bit thick. Not a little bit, a lot thick. I'm going to add some, I'm going to add just a little bit of varnish. This is a little bit of Josonia varnish to this. Not much, just enough to loosen it up. I think there's enough to do this pour in here. Okay, let's see if I can give you, you can see that it flows now. Okay. Flip this over, scrape this one out. Okay, across the top. This is not going to be real present because it's not a lot of, there's not a lot of this in here, so I got a little bit more, as much as I can down. It's a good way to use all your paints. I recently did a pour with these colors, and it was part of the pour I'm going to do this weekend with pouring with the Fellas, which is a collaboration with 12 other guys in fluid art, and it's on Saturday. I don't know my time slot yet, but once I do, I'll put it down in the description below. But please do stop in, because you will be, they're a fantastic group of artists. Now we'll go to Mango. It's got a little bit thick too, so I'm just going to add a little bit more varnish. I think what's happened is it's been a couple days since I've painted, and so the paint, as it sits, will naturally start to thicken up a little bit on you. So you have to kind of watch it. It's all about consistency. This color is very similar to, it's an orange, but it's very similar to the QNEG. It really pairs nicely with the QNEG. And the Honeycomb picks up on the yellow that the QNEG has. Now, QNEG is used by so many people because of its semi-transparent properties. It just is, it mixes so well with so many colors. Goes well with cold colors, goes very well with warm colors, and it's just very flexible. I don't have enough here to really do too much work with after tonight, so let's get it taken care of. Good. Okay, now the Nickel will go QNEG. Pretty good. Consistencies is very important with this style and every style technically. It's different different styles you do. I'm going to be doing this in the Sheleeartstyle. So my paints are quite a bit thicker than you might see with other artists around the net. But the paints are mixed differently. I use absolutely no water in the making of my paint. There's some that will, but I just don't want to introduce that into the mix. So I don't use water. Okay, now over on the other side, let's start with my interference color. Now the interference looks better usually on with colors that are, darker colors. You're going to see with this one, mix it a little bit more. And I really got to be careful how quickly or how vigorously I mix, because I'll get bubbles, and I do have some bubbles down there. Okay, you can see that the consistency on that. But here's the charm of the interference colors. Oops. Interference color. You can see if I get it over to the side, it has a blue shift to it. So it looks white, but it truly is interference, or a nice shade of blue. And this is Velvet, which is this little piggy's interference blue. Usually, like I said, I put this against a dark color. Well, let's see how it works here. It's going to peek through one way or another. Okay. Going down with Sapphire. I think actually I'm going to hold that to the back. So I'm going to go down with the next color, being my next lightest. This is Lagoon. Lagoon is a gorgeous teal, and almost aqua. The sides are very much the same, but you can see the consistency of that. And this has a blue hue underneath it, so it'll marry up with the it'll marry up very nicely with the velvet. Okay. Next will be Lakeside. You can see inside that there is quite a bit of it's separated a little bit. So I'm just trying to do it gently. You really, when you're painting, especially with, in mixing these up, you don't want to vigorously mix. You don't want to beat like you're beating it. You really want to just fold it together again. Okay, you can see the consistency on that is beautiful. It's very much a turquoise with a green shift underneath. Let me see if I can show you the green shift. So it has a green shift to it. Coverage here. Okay. Now Waterfall. This is a new color to the TLP line. Came out with the new release, and it was a nod to Waterfall acrylics, Karen over at Waterfall, and hence the name. Incorporated again. This color is extremely, I love blue. I tend to go, I'm a blue guy, but I love this color of blue. I just added a whole bunch of colors to it. You can see the consistency. This has a blue silver undertone. So not only is it blue, but it also has a bluish silver shine to it. Move a little faster because I paint my studios down in the basement of my house, and it's warm down here. You would think a basement would be cold. This one is really warm, so sometimes, especially this time of year, I have to move faster. I've been talking a lot. So last but not least is Sapphire. Sapphire is a deep blue with lots of shimmer. It's very reminiscent to the DecoArte Extreme Sheen Sapphire. You can see the consistency and the shimmer to that if you can get close enough to see it. It's kind of hard to see in this light. There is so much shimmer in this. Okay, now it's about that's about 2/3 down the canvas for this painting. Put these away, get my things out of the way. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to normally with a normal fluid art, they would put their cell activator or whatever they're using for their cells layered up to the top and drag it through. I'm going to use my large spat and pull down through, and then I'll do some what I'm trying to do right now is I'm just trying to get a little bit more coverage. Spread out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start with my titanium white on the back. Give it a good spit. Give it a stir first. It's just like the other paints. These can separate, and you really need to, especially with the cell activator, you really want to incorporate it. Now, if you're interested in learning how I mix my paints and my pigments and several of the other things I do on my channel, I do have a how-to series. It's a set of 4 or 5 videos that I put together on how I do things. You can find that up here on the top for the link for it. You'll also find it down in the description. Just enough of that. Okay. I think I might add a little bit of the Willy Wagtail black bloom gel because that helps with the cell formation. But we'll do that at the end of all this. Next is going to be the Interference Gold cell activator. I'll put that down just a second. Mix it up. And this has thickened up, so I'm going to have to add some. I'm going to have to add some more of the. I have my Floetrol, Australian Floetrol, in this little container for when I need to do this sort of thing. And I just give it a good shake, add a little bit at the top. I think I added probably a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon. This was pretty well a mess, so I'll be right back. I'm putting that on top of the white. Sorry about the delay there. I managed to drop my spatula and poured it all the way down to the front of my pants. No problem. I'll take them upstairs and get them fixed up. And finally, this is Willy Wagtail Black. Give it a good shake. while watching my spatula not fall over. So it's boom gel. I get this off of fluidart.co. It's a good source for most of my products. And they are carrying all of the Amsterdam products now, so the entire line of Amsterdam, paints. So it's a one-stop shop in a lot of ways. Okay. And here we go. Just going to go straight down. Oh yeah, I'm liking the cell formation already. I missed some right here. I can go in and I'm gonna take a little bit of the cell activator. I may not worry about it. We'll see if I'm able to stretch it out. Okay. Slowly move this. Really don't want the cells to get too wonky. Back. Concentrating, I forget to talk. I'm looking for the weight of the paint. As soon as it gets closer from that side, it starts pouring off. I'll bring it back. Clump of something right there. I'll tell you what, I don't quite know what it is, but I'm sure we'll find out, and it's adding to the character, but it's making my cells go a little wonky. Okay, bring it back. Center. Okay, now move everything out of the way, and let's get some of this paint off of here. afraid I'm going to lose them down here, but on this end down here, I'm getting some beautiful shadow cells where they're outlined with the white. Unexpected, but welcomed. Really don't know what's underneath there at the top. This is getting definitely out of hand. So, take a second here. In all my talking, I probably let it set up too much. Whatever it is, it's quite large. Don't know. Can't worry about it. Creating an interesting flow. And I'm losing a lot of my cell integrity because of it. Interesting? Yeah. Do I love it? Not sure. What I was doing there is I was moving the weight of the paint that way so I could move some of the composition. And my composition, I'm going to be frank, is not what I was looking for. But if I give it up for Lent, my judgment on this for Lent, I probably find that I like this a lot more than I think I do. All that beautiful stuff that I liked on that side that I mentioned. Finger painting, but need to get the coverage. Okay. There is definitely something underneath this painting around this point right here, and it might have just been thick paint from the painting before. Who knows? The more I mess with this, the more of a mess it's going to become. So I think I am at this point going to try to get a little bit more paint off this bottom half. Against the clock at this point because this paint has been down long enough that I'm concerned about it. Boy, I do love the colors though. Very beautiful colors. The reason we spin is twofold. Usually it's to open up cells and spread them out a little bit, and also to get some of the paint off. There, as you saw, when I put this down, I put a lot of paint down, just from the beginning. And I had the pillow paint, and then I put on the large amounts of my color layer, and so that's causing a little bit of a problem. And my fear is when I finish this, it's going to, the cells are going to sink and they're going to disappear. I'll still have the variation of colors. What you see here as far as colors will stay, but the selling and the parts that I really love about this will probably disappear if I don't get more of this paint off. One of the ways I can tell how much paint I have, I go where I think the paint is thickest, and I go straight down. So you can see that I have just a little bit there. I don't know if you can see that at all. There it is. I got just a little bit there. I think I'll probably be okay with that. That's about a millimeter. Yeah. So, say about an eighth, less than an eighth of an inch, 16th of an inch. So it's thin enough, I think. So with that, I'm going to put you on hold and bring you down for a flyover. Okay, let's take a closer look. I really do like the color mixing. As you can see my cells, they're there, but they got really, really wonky, and that's not what I was looking for. That's the section I was talking about. I had a whole bunch of those that I had to pour off. But the color variation, the color separation is actually not too bad. A little muddy in there. But it shows me that I really want to take this back out and experiment more. Overall, I give this piece a B plus maybe. B on a bad day. So will I use it again? Being that it already has a painting underneath it, I don't know that I want to put another painting on top of it, but the time will tell. So I will be playing with this idea again, and hope that you'll come back again and take a look.
Thank you for being here today. If you'd like to help, leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell. It's absolutely free, and it really does help. It's my goal to put out 2 videos per week, and I hope you're enjoying them. So until next time, bye now.